So one of the ways that we can combat violent extremism is to not play into the narrative that's constructed for us.
Okay.
ISIS has done a tremendous job creating a narrative of these super killers and these super soldiers, and they're easy bad guys to be able to respond to. And we can thump our chests and say we're going to fight that bad guy, but that's precisely that's exactly what they want. They want to be able to have a justification for saying, see, this is the kind of violence that we're coming to, and it justifies what we say we need to do, and it justifies the urgency of our cause. You can really deflate that by taking away that created hyperbole in the narrative of the internet, and really go back and say, what is the reality of what we're dealing with, and who are the people who are suffering, and what are the circumstances that produced these narratives to come to fruition in the first place.
Right.
Those people who were very vulnerable and then were exploited, right? People who were displaced or disenfranchised by the state, people who were or who have felt a deep sense of historical inequality. You know, where is that coming from, and how do we pay attention to the sources of those inequalities? And you pay attention to those, you're now dealing with structural issues. So now you're not playing into the idea of violence. You're dealing with civil issues. You're dealing with civic issues.
Mm-hmm.
So how can we change civic structures in the world, or how can we be more receptive and open to the change of those civic structures? Because sometimes, despite ourselves, we think we know the right thing, but we're doing it with only a very, very small portion of information. And so again, being informed and being able to create some sort of critical perspective on these sorts of things is precisely the sort of thing we need to do first. And normally, when that takes place, it creates a buffer, because people stop. And the more and more people stop and think about these things, the less likely people are to jump into the fire.
Right.
That's already kind of creating that paranoia and that fear.
Mm-hmm.
that is the perfect staging ground to augment violent extremism.